Welcome to Privacy Cast, a podcast dedicated to spreading privacy awareness in India and across the globe. And today we have with us none other than Amruta Moktali. Amruta is a ex-Salesforce Top C Lab and Microsoft technologist. She now leads the product at Skyflow. Her expertise is in privacy preserving technologies. So I think one of the best person to talk about privacy vaults, and vaults are the new trending topic in the industry. So we have Amruta, none other than Amruta with us. And today, in the next 15 minutes, we're going to cover vaults. Why do we need them? And what is vault about, right? What are we talking about, right? What is this technical thing? So today we'll cover that. So asking Amruta directly and coming to the point, guys, like asking her a question. So what is a privacy vault? And why are we talking about it so much, Amruta?
Uh, Hi, Akarsh. Great to be here. Thank you for the introduction. And I'm super excited. This is a really great podcast. When I see podcast with the title that's like data privacy podcast, that's like music to my ears because that's all that I live and dream about. And I think before we talk about the vault or anything, right, the one thing that I keep hearing a lot about is we know data privacy. People keep confusing security and privacy. And, we need to think of that as two sides of the same coin. And the way I tell people about it is security is like you're locking your door, and privacy is like you are protecting everything that's inside your house once, the someone's come into your door. So that's kind of how you want to think about it. And let's get into like, what is a vault? And, why do we need it? Why is everyone talking about it right now?
Why?
The best
Why?
why,
So,
right? The biggest why.
yeah.
So, if you think of a data privacy vault, now this is a concept you'll hear IEEE talk about, Gartner talk about, the world talk about. We have been thinking about this for 5, 6 years. It's all about the second part of the coin that I'm talking about, right? How do you protect the data? A vault is a place where you can actually protect all the data that is sensitive to you and to your customers as a business, and you protect it in a way that you can use it. And that is extremely important because, not like everything else, data is one thing you can't just lock away and keep it. And, when you have to use it, what happens? Everything's out in the open again, and then anybody can take it. So, Vault is, and when we talk about data privacy vault, we are talking about protecting sensitive data. It could be your personal information, your financial information, your health information, in a way that you can use it in a protected manner. Think about encrypted queries, analysis, insights you can get on that information. And while you are doing that, you are doing it in accordance to end customers' wishes. Right now, you can think of that as
So
consent as well.
it's a safe environment
It's a safe environment,
for data.
extreme,
You know,
extremely
data
safe
can
environment for data.
data can feel safe inside it, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, okay.
That's how you want to think about
And
it. It's your safe
and
haven.
Amrita, thinking about moving on, right? I think the
Yeah.
next thought process is we have, and I'm talking about India right now, right?
Yes.
Being
Yes.
recording today from Bangalore, and I think you're in Bombay
Correct.
today, right?
Yes.
So while we are in India in this jurisdiction, we
Yeah.
have a privacy law in front of us.
Exactly. Exactly.
And see, I have been in the industry for what, like, this is my eighth year, right? And I used to work for a big four, and then I moved on, and we
Yeah.
started Tsaaro, and then we've been doing this. So,
Yeah.
and it's been 8 years solving this privacy challenge, right? And I can tell you honestly that. Matlab, I'm a consultant, so I shouldn't be saying this, but it is not happening, right? Privacy compliance, so it is not happening, right? And
Yes.
we keep talking about it as a culture issue. We keep talking
Yes.
about um, as a different issue, right? That this team did
Correct.
not do it or some other team did not do it.
Yeah.
But it's if you look at privacy, it's not anyone's cup of tea, right? It's a culture issue. It will take 10 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
can this 10, 20, 30 be shortened by, let's
Hmm.
say, a vault?
Yes.
And we can get faster to a DPDP compliance. And if you can just tell me,
Correct.
I would personally
Yeah.
love to know more about this.
Yeah. And you're 100% spot on, right? And the way I tell people also is, see, privacy is not a, like you said, it's not a new thing. It's been there. We have just, in different markets have taken it seriously at different periods of time. Everyone who's in the tech industry knows about GDPR that EU put in. DPDP is no different in a lot of ways from what GDPR was long time ago. So if you kind of follow that pattern, it's the same exact thing. What does DPDP tell you, right? You want to make sure you're taking the security measures and privacy measures for encryption, access control, auditing logging, governance, making sure it's processed and properly. You're making sure user consent is respected. There's a data subject rights of erasure. You have data minimization. So these are kind of the key pillars of DPDP, if you say. And then to your other point of can we accelerate this? Should it not take another 10 years? There are two things I tell people. One is we call it the privacy first architecture, right? So when you are actually building something, think about it from a privacy first architecture so that later on you don't have to try to put band-aids into your architecture to fit it in because everyone does that. You have PII sprawl everywhere in any architect, anyone I'm talking to right now, it goes like, oh, I have 3 databases, 200 databases. Someone created this application and now that's collecting, Aadhaar card number. Now what do I do? And the government has put some really good measures with the RPI regulation, the way the Aadhaar card needs to be managed. So now this is just taking it a step further. And in fact, I keep telling folks, I really like how
Also, as
India's
you
done this,
also
right?
when you mention Aadhaar, Vault
Yeah.
is not a new thing in India, right?
Exactly,
And
exactly.
Aadhaar, long time back, has been vouching for a vault. They said, hey, put Aadhaar data
Yes,
in a vault, right?
exactly. So actually, to a lot of folks, what I do is if you go to the government website and look at the Aadhaar Vault specifications, it's the same thing as we are talking about in a data privacy, right? The vault is not a new concept. You put it in your architecture the way you want to. There are ways to fit in a vault in existing architectures. There are ways to fit it in, best is if you start with it. And then now the other thing also is, there's a big data explosion happening. So the thing that people also need to think about is because of AI now, we have unlocked so much data. It gives us a lot of power, but like the Superman saying, right, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's where you want to use a vault because the unstructured data has so much value. And we are now unlocking the value of that unstructured data with AI. And that makes this even more important. And that's why I don't think we can wait 10 years
Yeah,
for everyone to be compliant.
I also feel like when you say that AI has unlocked, more uses of data, but in the same time, if we see per capita data production per person across the world, I
It's
think
insane.
we have 5G coming in, right? So
It's it's
it's
insane.
when the fridges are going to talk to us in next few years. It's true, right? It's
It
think
is
about
true.
yeah, think if my preference on a fridge is also PII.
It's everything
So
is PII. I keep telling people, like if you look at the younger generation, like I have my young kids, right? They are so used to devices everywhere and the devices knowing exactly what they want, right? So it's going to be an expectation from the next
verifiable
generation.
verifiable parental consent, right? So we
Exactly.
so
No, because
I just keep every time somebody talks to me about things, I just keep thinking, okay, how does privacy apply here, right? So
it is crazy because you don't realize how many things around you are being recorded even
yeah,
today, like
I don't know if you read about this this murder in UK, right? Where
yes,
you know about that, right? Amazon gave
yes,
all the data back, and
exactly.
then it was the husband. So
Yeah, it's
wow,
crazy. But think
it
about it,
woke
right?
me
The
up.
power of data. It's just the power of data right now.
Yeah,
And
I
there's so much.
try to keep my devices a bit away when I'm talking nowadays.
The funniest thing is I was talking to someone and the number of satellites have drastically increased because the amount of now it's become easy to put satellites up there. And with every satellite, what are you doing? You're collecting data. You're
Exactly.
collecting different kind of data. So it's just going to think there are certain things that I know based on my conversation with folks in terms of the amount of data that gets collected and the type of data. It's very scary. I don't think people realize how much of their data is out there. There are like cities where there are pillars outside people's homes that has their coordinates and information of who lives there, right? So, and it's just
I feel
something that
Amruta,
exists.
I think you're like I'm talking to the Indian audience, right? Let's just make it easy for them. Domino's had a data breach, right?
Yes,
If you ordered a Domino's cheese burst or not, right?
correct.
So
You will
just by
you will do
your
that.
just by
Yes,
your phone number, right? I could
yes.
go online, I can search your
Yeah,
number, and I can see whether
yeah,
you like cheese burst or not. So
yeah.
come on, right? You know
It's
that
it's
much.
always there.
Leave
And
future.
it's funny. Everywhere you go, everyone gives out phone numbers so easily, right? Everyone asks.
Everywhere I go in India, and I say no to phone number, and they get shocked. They're
Yes,
like, "Are you all right?"
exactly.
They
And
look at
that's
me as
so
a fanatic. There, I like.
exactly. So when we think about all these vaults, right, there are two parts to it. One thing is it's going to take a long time for the end consumers to realize the impact of this. It's only so now the Star Health breach happened, right? When I talk about it, a few folks who are technologically, enabled to think about it or something, they understand what it is. For everyone else, it's like, chalega usme kya karenge? It's like, what are they going to do with the data? And but I think the extent of the breach and the leakage is not known because the digital movement was not there in India. So if you really think of it, everything has in the past 5 years moved from small things like people would keep cash at home to now it is in the bank. You would do cash transactions to digital transactions. And that increases the risk of what happens if your data is compromised because in a day, you lose all your wealth.
Are you saying
It's
that this
gone.
is a? Do you are you predicting a future where all the companies are going to use just like a bank, a vault, and data
I
will get stored?
100%. I think that has to be the future. Because if you think of the amount of risk a single leak of data causes, it is a lot. And I think, I mean, I have known it, being everywhere. Like, people, there are policies, there are governments, there are banks who have had to keep all these provisions, and companies get shut down.
So do you think
Um,
that Skyflow's name will change to Skyflow Bank?
we already have a vault, so we don't need to be a bank. No, but
Data
I
Bank. Yes,
data
I'm just
bank.
giving you product ideas, like name ideas. I'm so sorry.
Data
But
banks are already there. If you think of the data platforms, they're all data banks. We just
but
are a
that's
vault that goes
yeah,
into
but
any
but
bank at
hearing
any time.
hearing from you, like, in terms of clarity and also in terms of need,
Yeah,
plus in the world where we have no whatever tools we put, right? End of day, the hack is still happening. So
it's
will we
100%.
ever have let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. Will we ever have a safer world of data? Like, I do not believe so. I personally, like, I have been in this industry for 8 years. It's near impossible to have the best talent. See, even if you buy the biggest DLP, you need the best talent to run the DLP. You need
You
the
do.
best talent and where is the talent,
Yeah.
right?
I
It's
think I think the way I think of it is you will never get to 100%, right? But you at least want to get as close to that. You don't, it's one of those things where you're like, you can't just not do anything because you can't get to 100%. Right? Even if you can prevent 60%, 70% of data being protected from a breach or, anything, that's a lot. Because if you extrapolate these things, I mean, we read in the news all the time, right? Why do all the governments put so much protection behind their data? Why are we worried about, different countries breaching different countries and doing all of that? The extent is pretty big. You start from financial because that what hit cuts close to home, right? Like if we all run on, financial stuff. So you start there. Then you start with health. People are not thinking that health data is that important, but at some point it will become that important,
it
right?
is it is very important, right? See, the thing is, there was a breach on, I think,
The Star Health.
Malaysian Prime
No,
Minister.
Malaysia. Yes,
Yeah, I
yes.
don't remember exactly, but and his all his leaks happened in terms of what his problems are, what his issues
Correct.
are.
Correct.
Now somebody just needs one a bioweapon which
Exactly. They
reacts
can,
on him.
yeah.
Yeah, and that
I mean,
exploitation, and we are not far away from that, right?
we are not. I mean, think
No,
about if someone has a really bad allergy and you go for food or dinner somewhere, right? And they could just compromise everything. So
exactly.
it's kind of doomsday-ish when we talk about it. I mean, that's not the impression I want to give, but At the end of the day, we all need to take this seriously. I think there is a reason why laws have been made, right? I mean, people are not silly sitting there and creating these laws. There's a reason why they created the law. There's a reason why they published the rules. There's a reason why they're going to enforce it
and
because they
and
do.
and when I look at an earlier, like, this mindset, okay,
Yeah.
uh, that regulations are like really really slow you down, or it disables you to do business, right? That's a mindset, right? And believe, see,
Yes.
I've always been in the industry of regulation, right?
Yes.
Implementing, solving that problem. So whenever I go to a technologist and I tell them, boss, this is the regulation, and they're like, why are you wasting my time, right?
Exactly.
And why am I wasting his time, right? So, and this is the answer I've been giving for 8 years, so I have great answers now, right? So I'm letting him do his business. I'm not wasting his time. So I'll tell you one. See, look at, and let's just look at EU AI Act, right?
Yeah.
Now, can you also like maybe connect a bit of the discussion that we have
Yeah.
had with
Yeah.
the European AI Act and the across the AI Acts that are coming,
Correct.
and how
Correct.
does a vault help
Yeah.
out in, let's say,
Yeah.
AI implementation as well?
100%. See, the thing that it's a very simple thing. PII doesn't change. PII remains the same. How you protect PII doesn't change because the importance of that data doesn't change. What are we doing with the AI acts everywhere, EU AI Act or anything else? We are talking about protecting it in a different type of usage. So at the end of the day, how you protect the data does not change. We are just saying that protect it in all these different ways that you use it. So that is where the protection and stuff with the vault that we are talking about, I kind of break it even further low into structured and unstructured data, right? We have always been thinking in structured data world of like, the standard pieces. Now we are getting into the unstructured data world with AI. But PII remains the same. How you protect the data remains the same. How you use the data is what we are applying it to. So that's how you want to think about it. So that's why I keep telling people use the vault. It will help you across all workflows: transactional, operational, analytical, AI, ML. In the future, there's anything else that comes. You have now created this world where you know how you're protecting and using it. Use it however you want.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear, right? And I also like enjoyed this conversation with you, Amrita, right? And we went past our thought process of time, and this was fun. So thank you for coming on board, and thank you
No
for taking
worries.
out early morning, and welcome to India.
Thank you.
And I hope you had a great time here in this last week that you've been here, traveling across. So, and thank you, Amrita. I would like to speak something to our listeners, and then we will.
Fantastic.